The twin ideas of motherhood and fatherhood enshrine some of the deepest mysteries of who God is and how he thinks. I've never given birth, obviously, but the fact that a woman's body is able to take a strand of DNA and nurture it into a complete human being is just amazing to me. The role of fathers is not quite so easy to pin down, but they are equally critical to the success of any society, and it's not by accident that God chooses to identify himself to us as a father. In his eyes, it isn't just the momentary contribution of life-giving seed that makes us fathers, it's the long years of protection, provision, affirmation and approval that make us that. So as we celebrate Father's Day this weekend, I'd like to urge us all to honour fathers, who they are and what they do. I also want to challenge my fellow fathers to own this God-given role and to make it their highest priority. Now, I do have to confess that I have more than a passing interest in the idea of fatherhood. I'm the father of 2 amazing daughters, and more recently I've become the stepdad to 3 more glorious girls, so I have a pretty good grip on the challenges and the rewards of being a father. I also have a much better understanding of fashion and cosmetics than I really want to admit. Seriously though, I know from experience just how important it is for fathers to do whatever it takes to be meaningfully engaged in their children's lives. The statistics on the consequences of growing up without a dad in your life make shocking reading. For instance, did you know that according to the US Census Bureau's 2020 report on living arrangements for children under 18 from the 1960s until the present day, children growing up without a father or a stepfather present in their lives are 4 times more likely to end up living in poverty, 7 times more likely to get pregnant as a teenager. They face twice the risk of infant mortality, are twice as likely to suffer from obesity, are more likely to go to prison, are more likely to have behavioural problems, are twice as likely to drop out of school, and are much more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol. So there's no doubt that fathers are vital, which makes the lack of fathers in so many lives an absolute tragedy. Several organisations have described fatherlessness in recent years as an epidemic. On a more positive note, if we look at those same statistics in the other direction, we can safely assume that just by being actively involved in our children's lives, fathers and stepfathers then can help them do better at school, make better life choices, be safer, build more successful relationships, and avoid substance abuse. For Christians, the role of father becomes even more important. Like most Christians, my earliest ideas of God as my father were shaped by my relationship with my earthly dad. I was fortunate to have a father who was brilliant and who made it easy for me to feel safe with the idea that God was my father, to trust him and to want to please him. I want to set that same example for my own girls. Obviously, every family is unique and there is no one-size-fits-all template for being a great father, but the Bible talks a lot about what fathers are for and how they should handle their God-given role. For instance, 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 verses 11 to 12 mentions 3 things that all dads should do all the time. Let me read it to you. For you know that we dealt with each of you as a father deals with his own children, encouraging, comforting, and urging you to live lives worthy of God who calls you into his kingdom and glory. They're really simple things, aren't they? Encouraging, comforting, and urging them to live godly lives. But they have incredible power when they become constant strands in our children's lives. In a society where our children are constantly being told that their self-worth has to be earned by jumping through hoops, the simple act of affirming the good things that I see in my girls' lives can help them understand who they really are and forge an identity that does not depend on the world's fickle approval. Scrapes and bruises, whether they're physical, or psychological or emotional, are an integral part of growing up. My job as a father is to help my girls feel safe enough to risk those wounds in the pursuit of meaning and purpose, and to demonstrate to them that a father's love does not need to be earned, and that there's no disaster or mistake that can break it. Lastly, urging our kids to follow the Lord, especially by example, is by far the most important thing a father can do. Some years ago, I came across a shocking statistic from an organisation called Focus on the Family. According to their research, if a child is the first person in a household to become a Christian, there's a 3.5% chance that everyone else in the household will follow. If the mother is the first to become a Christian, there's a 17% chance. But if the father is first, there's a 93% chance that everyone else in the household will follow him into salvation. To have that level of influence over the eternal future of our kids is an incredible privilege and an awesome responsibility. I'm convinced that the one single thing I can do to have the most positive influence on my girls is to live out my relationship with Jesus, warts and all, in front of them. I'm going to share my triumphs and my disasters, my ups and downs. The only thing I won't do is hide my love for the Lord from them. I don't understand why or how my example can have such a profound effect on them. I just know that it does, and that's all I really need to know. So, if you're a father, a stepfather, or a father figure of any kind, I urge you to see that as your life's most important mission. God will honour you as one father to another, and he'll aid and abet you in ways that you can't even imagine. And as we celebrate Father's Day, why not write a card or send a text or pick up the phone and tell your dad one thing that you appreciate about the job he's done as a father? It'll mean the world to him. Now, if you can spare me one more minute, I've just got one last thought that I'd like to share with you. Not everyone has an earthly father figure in their life, and so Father's Day can be a bit painful for them. The Lord understands how they feel, and of course, he's in the adoption business, isn't he? We get a really beautiful glimpse of that in Psalm 68, verse 6, and it says, God sets the lonely in families. Isn't that great? But here's the thing, the families he is going to set the lonely in are yours and mine. So if I want to emulate God as a father, I need to keep a little bit of father love for those who aren't in my family. Now, that might be a one-off encounter with someone who needs a bit of fatherly input, or it may be that God will bring someone across my path that I need to take under my wing on a much more permanent basis. Either way, I'll be fulfilling the will of my Heavenly Father, and life doesn't get much better than that, does it? God bless you.